Thank you, Madhu, for being here. Let's hope, you present things in a way that the others will also respond. I'm looking forward to the interactions that will come from your presentation. Thank you, Mary. I think it's over to you now. I'm traveling, so I'll listen.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, we're delighted to have you all here, whether it's morning or evening. Thank you for spending your time with us. This is a very interactive discussion. We're thrilled to be focused on our lakes and the health of our lakes and ecological restoration based on the success that the Vaidic Srijan team has been having through completely holistic solutions, which are the wisdom of the ancients that they researched to find what could be done based on the knowledge of those who have come before and worked with our planet and seen the natural processes restore themselves. I think we all have heard of nature healing itself. Well, it can, as long as we don't meddle too much or as long as we take care of the meddling. And that's what we're going to hear about today. What I ask all of you to do is to know that your insights and your experience can help us accelerate, fine-tune, and also inform each other on the way that this knowledge and the current examples could impact more people or could be fine-tuned if there are opportunities to do that. And you have a network, you have experiences, and your insights will be tapping in the second portion of this session. Madhukar's presentation will go for about 25 to 30 minutes, and then we'll open it up. So I would just want you to be thinking about that. And also you can put questions in the chat so we don't forget them. And you can also put your contact information or resources that you think would be useful in the chat. This is completely a group effort. And my name is Mary Conley-Eggert. For those of you who don't know me, I am the founder of Global Waterworks, which is an open community. All are invited to join. And Madhukar has actually become a gold ambassador by seeing the community and inviting many of his friends. 43 of them have joined. A few of them have become silver ambassadors because they saw the value of sharing the knowledge in the community. And so we will be doing a lesson and sharing information in the WhatsApp groups on how to use the community. But he is a great example of that, the building community by networking. And a clear indication of the support he's received from his solutions is how quickly people joined and are following him. And he is a #2 Smart Water Magazine water author, globally recognized, a TEDx speaker, an entrepreneur, former tech executive turned waterpreneur, and environmental enthusiast. And I think you will be captivated, as I have been, by his just deep interest and understanding of these solutions that he is working with partners to implement. So with no further delay, I'd like to turn it over. Before I do, actually, I just want to acknowledge Hari Haran Chandra and the Alltech Foundation, who is the original source of these discussions. The WOW discussions, World of Water Action Forum, was something they formed to help 5 different metropolitan areas get efficient on water. And they also are now helping schools tap the rain to experience resilience during the drought, and also to experience the benefit of hygiene and understanding of water stewardship through lessons in the schools. A beautiful charitable effort, which we would invite you all to contribute to. We'll share a link in the chat. And also they are doing training of students. And Hari, I don't know what he doesn't do, but he's traveling right now, so I'm going to allow for him to travel smoothly. And again, we are just indebted to all of you for your insights, your interest. And Madhukar, over to you. You can share your presentation and your slides, and then we'll be eager to ask more and engage the full audience very shortly.
Are you able to see the screen now?
Beautiful. Yes, we can.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to present to the august audience that we have, and everybody is a water expert. So I think I won't have to spend too much of time on my slides. I'll straight away run into the case studies, which I've done. So with your permission, Mary, should I start the presentation now?
Please do.
Right. Thanks a lot. As you can see the screen, this is the event, and on the left-hand side, what you can see is the range of the inventions that we have done, which are all nature-based solutions and based on the basic framework of the Vedic sciences. And we will take you through all of them eventually. Towenomics is all about resurrection of the native ecology, which is the subject today. Eco-dredging is basically for consumption of the bottom deposit of the sludge into the water bodies. Eco-liners are meant for the water bodies which are getting dry during peak of summers. Eco-drain is the drain rejuvenation technology, and magic is basically 100% based on agriculture to make the farms go disease, pest, and weather resilient, chemical free, and antibiotic free. So that's a brief introduction about all the technology that we have developed. Now, coming on to the subject of today's discussion, which is about rejuvenating the water bodies. So all across the globe, we have the same problem with the water bodies, whether it is a lake or a pond, whether it is a river or a rivulet or a canal. So periodic silt deposition and sludge deposition and flooding of the water body, algal bloom, these are common problems all across the globe. The way we deal with it is water bodies are not just pool or reservoir of water, they are the ecosystem service providers. Ecosystem, we have the services we have divided into 3 different categories: mitigation, conservation, and maintenance. The objective of the rejuvenation project should be restoration of the ecosystem services. That is what we believe and that is what we practice. How we do it is with what we can cover through the case studies. So the first case study is from Varanasi. That is in almost eastern part of the country. And there we had this water body, which is, you can see the Google Earth imagery. It is 12.73 acres. And you can see it is densely populated. In fact, back in 1498, when Sant Kabir was found into this particular lake, this was almost a 40 acres wetland. This has been encroached grossly, and today it is left at 12.73 acres. Now, this used to be a village earlier called Madwadi, wherein there is no underground sewerage system that exists. So untreated raw sewage of 10 million liter per day is getting added into this water body. And pre-treatment condition, you can see in this video, this was completely covered with weeds. You cannot see any water anywhere. These are all water hyacinths which were there. This was the pre-treatment condition in October 2021 when we started the project. Now, this is after the removal of all that water hyacinth. You can see the water is absolutely still. You can see smudge all over. There is algal bloom. There is black smudge. There is a little bit of fungal growth also, which is the white patches. And another important aspect to note is that newly built platform, which you can see here, is also submerged in water. So that was the condition. There was massive foul smell all around. There were massive mosquitoes problem in the entire colony which was there. And this was the condition in October 2019. Before October 2019, I've shared the condition earlier. Now, this is October 2019 when this entire civil work was happening for beautification. From here, we started the treatment. The project started on 19th of November 2021. And within 3 days, what you can see is the difference in terms of the water color. From dark pitch black, it is turning to grayish. And another thing that you can see in these 2 videos is the change in the viscosity. Now you can also see some waves happening at the other end of the water body. Now, it is not a windy weather. You would have seen that no leaves of the trees were moving, which means the waves were getting created within the water body. Now, this is a story after 10 days of treatment. You can see the top was absolutely opaque. Now you can see the transparency has been built. Now you can see the bottom deposits of the organic waste, which is there into the water body. So bottom is visible. That was the impact after 10 days. Now this, I'm not saying this is a thumb rule. This is what happened in this particular case. It will not happen in every case. Why it is happening in this particular case is because only domestic raw sewage was coming in, which is rich in organic load. There could be water bodies where even the industrial effluent is coming in. There the impact will be very different and the time taken will be much higher than this. Now this is after 2 weeks. Why I'm showing you in gaps of 1 week is so that you are able to relate to it, what happens in what period of time, provided the waste is organic. Waste is not chemical, right? even into the village water bodies wherein we have the agriculture runoff, we have a lot of pesticides and insecticides coming in. So this is densely populated, and all raw sewage was coming in. You can see the water has receded. Some people who don't understand water will say that the water is reducing. No, the bottom sludge is getting consumed and water is reclaiming the space. So that was the condition after 2 weeks, and after 1 month was over, this was the report published by Uttar Pradesh Pollution Control Board, and you can see there is a stark difference in almost all the parameters that they tested. Fecal coliform has gone down by almost 90% in a matter of 1 month itself. And this is the award that we earned from the CII, that is the Confederation of Indian Industries, for this particular project. This project was also featured into Smart Water and Waste World magazine as 50 finest global case studies. And this is the summer of 2023. You can see kids are playing around. They've created a boat of their own and they're doing boating. They start swimming and people started catching fishes from the same water body where there was no biodiversity. There are flocks of birds roaming around the water body. There are fishes. People have seen turtles also into the water body. So that was the transformation in a matter of, I think, 8 to 9 months. We continued the project till November 2022. And afterwards, the water body is in good condition. It is maintaining itself on its own. So that was the visual aspect of the project. Now let's go on to the lab reports. Yes, they are not consistent. It is basically because it is 100% in situ. So when the discharge increases, the parameter changes, but there is a positive trend that you can see over the month, whether it is BOD or COD, pH or TDS or TSS or DO level, everything is changing in the positive side. And for last 2 years, there has been no intervention, but the water body is still in good condition. So that was the condition of a lake, which technically we call as the static water body. Now we're moving towards another project, which is a sewage drain itself. Now this happened in the state of Punjab. We worked on this with Punjab Pollution Control Board, and the city is called Patiala. This is the Google Earth imagery. You can see this is from this point till this point, it was 1 kilometer. This side is a village called Dhamu Majra. This side you can see a sewage treatment plant. So the treated wastewater of about 9 million liters per day was discharged into the same drain, and untreated raw sewage, including animal waste and agriculture runoff and everything, was coming in from the village side, from the other side. So this was the condition in which we started the treatment. And this is the pre-treatment video. You can see the water is almost still. There is no movement into the water. And again, this was also treated 100% in situ. We did not do any physical dredging. We did not move even a single lump of soil or any weed which was there. And from this condition, wherein there was massive foul smell, there was huge mosquito population, black still water, we started treating this. Now here the medicine is being discharged into the water body from those 4 points which were shown into that Google Earth imagery. And you can see a lot of froth here. This is primarily because of heavy concentration of the phosphates. And after a month, you can see the flow is back into the water. The water transparency has gone up. The foul smell is completely eradicated. The mosquito colonies are completely gone. And now it is a flowing water, which is much healthier than the previous conditions. So birds, bees, butterflies, everything is back, and the sludge deposit is also getting consumed. We did this project for 2 years, for 2 months, because it was just a study project. Because after our presentation, Punjab Pollution Control Board was very happy. They said, okay, at least we will do a study project and understand your technology better. So that's how this project was done. These were the observations for the water quality, the sludge quality, and even the air quality. This was all testing was done by Punjab Pollution Control Board itself. And they were pretty happy. They gave us this certificate that it is a wonderful technology to be used into the water bodies. Now, this is the third case study, which is for the city of Moradabad, wherein we did multiple water bodies spread across the city, and the condition of the overall city had improved. So this was a video documentary done by Doordarshan. I'll just quickly go through it. This is the municipal commissioner of the city of Moradabad, who was awarded by National Clean Air Program for the project because they won the national award for the best work in air pollution mitigation. And they were also awarded at World CSR Congress for the best water project. And we also happened to earn an award of Good Air Award because of this particular project. So this was a documentary made by Doordarshan, which is the national official broadcaster of Government of India. And this was aired on the Doordarshan network on 4th of April this year. Let me just fast forward it. Okay. So these were the 6 ponds that we started initially. The project started in April 2022. And today we are doing about 12 water bodies in the same city. The focus was on water quality, air quality, groundwater, and the biodiversity. The groundwater board gave us this data that the recharge started happening in the month of August 2022. While from 2009 till 2021, there was no groundwater recharge happening in the city. The rainfall was massive and still there was no spillover in any of the water body that we were treating. The air quality, if you can see the right-hand side of the screen, that was the air quality from 2017 till 2022. By 22 December, it had gone down from 300 plus to 113. And since December 2022, the air quality, which used to be 300 plus, consistently from 2017 till 2022, is now maintained at below 80, which is the good air quality. And it is consistent for last 2 years. While earlier it was consistent 300 plus for 5 years. So
Wow.
they have won the award in 2022, then followed by 2023 also. But 2023, they got the award because they maintained it to below 80 for the entire year. This was the condition of the water pre-treatment, because everybody understands it pretty well. So I'm moving a bit fast because everybody can grasp it immediately. This was the BOD condition, which was supposed to be below 3 and it was above 3,000. So that was the condition. And this actually shows you the map of the city and where all our water bodies were situated and how it impacted all the qualities. The biodiversity conservation was so good that WWF had a delegation of more than 300 people coming on to the project just to understand the biodiversity conservation out of the small water bodies. Even the vector-borne diseases had gone down drastically, 3 years low in 2022, post-monsoon. And 2023, it was negligible. I mean, 2024 also, it has been negligible. I mean, the people are really happy who are residing in the vicinity of the water body. Now, this comes to the end of the Moradabad case study. This is Mandakini, which is a river in Chitrakoot. The conditions were the same. It was getting flooded year over year. 2020, we did this project as a proof of concept for the corporation, and they were like really happy. They gave us this experience certificate that they could actually see an improvement into the aquatic biodiversity after our project, which was just a 1-month project, right? Similarly, we've done many projects across the country. This one is from Northeast, from the state of Assam. And what I want to depict in these 2 pictures is because pre-treatment condition, you can see the behavior of the birds. All of them were outside the water body. And post-treatment, you can see all of them are inside the water body. So birds understand the quality of water, and that is what impacts into the biodiversity as well.
Just a question, an observation on a prior picture. It looked like people were swimming in your first lake after the treatment. It was quite a ways back. Is that true?
Yes.
Wow. And that's after presumably they did some tests on the water to show that it was safe for swimming.
Even this project, people started swimming back into the water body, which they used to do about 40 years back. So after the project was over, this project was for 8 months. After 8 months, this is a temple water body. This is in Ma Ugrutara Lake, Ma Ugrutara Temple. This water body is called Jorpukri, and people resumed swimming into the water body after the project was over. And these are some of the projects that we're doing across India, ongoing projects. So far completed over 40 projects, spread over 300 acres of water body, saved over 2 million people from water and vector-borne diseases. These are some of the recent recognitions. We got the BRIC Solution Award in this year's Kazan BRIC Summit. We got the Green Innovation Hackathon by ICFA University in Dehradun this year. And we won the prestigious Tata Social Enterprise Challenge for 2024, which is done at IM Kolkata, organized by Tata Group of Companies and Tata Trust. These are some of the other awards that we have had. Some of the national and international recognitions. We are a member of IWA. We did a
Madhukar, just stepping in. Just
yeah. Yes, sir. So your voice is breaking in the between, so I'm unable to get your question.
We can't hear you, Hari.
You all of this will not help us. You're being patient with us. You'll have to see. Can you hear me now? Yes,
Yes.
yes. Madhukar, I'm only saying that it will be good for you to, if you don't have any more slides on that, you have to explain to people here. And I can tell you there are at least 6 to 7, 8 of them who are in the exact same space. So you'll have to, if you say medicine, it won't help them. You'll have to tell them what is your approach to solutioning is, what is the sizing of the challenge that you do, and what are your costs per liter or cost per kiloliter, and such things. That is what will help them to understand better.
Okay. So question number 1 is about what is the medicine. Second is about how we do it. And third is about the cost. Okay. So let me just begin with the medicine. What is our approach? How do we do it? So the way we do it is we collect a lot of data from the site in terms of which agroclimatic zone it is, what kind of biodiversity is there, what kind of water is coming in, what is the volume of water which is coming in, what is the groundwater condition, what is the air quality, what is the surface water quality, what is the inlet quality.
I'll stop you there. Yeah, that's very elementary for any of us here. Yeah. Your presentation is very good for this audience. I have to again alert you to that. Arun Kumar, are you there? You say hush.
Arun Kumar is
I'm
here.
traveling, so yes, ma'am. Arun Kumar Srijan, are you there? Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, Arun, you have done probably over 70 kilometers of one river. You've done several million liters of such a treatment of continuous wastewater drainage systems. You have heard that was technical, correct? So Arun, will you take over and ask him a few questions, Arun?
Sure.
Arun, will you take?
Yes.
Arunji, your voice is also not very clear.
Yes, I'm available on the phone.
A few questions.
Off and on.
So that you can drive them to some of us other parts. Thank you.
Arunji, please ask your question.
Hello. Yes. I was just wondering, can you explain a little bit more about the particular species that you're trying to tackle as part of your solution? You said you're restoring the ecology of the water body, and by that I mean I presume you're targeting the growth of certain algal species, microalgae, probably bacteria, probably certain plants that may reside on the waterbed itself. So can you speak a little bit more about, are you targeting in particular algal species? And can you explain the working mechanism, right, behind your product? Yeah.
Okay.
I'd just like to pause and just say thank you for the examples. And it sounds like now we're getting into the questions and dialogue with everyone. But I have put into the chat the website where you can all see more additional information as we go through these questions. So,
right.
go for it, Madhukar.
So, Mary, there were 3 questions from Hari ji and there is 1 question from Arun ji. So let me just answer in the same chronological order. So I was talking about medicine. After we collect the data from the site, we prepare a medicine which is 100% botanical extract. There is a pool of various herbs from which we have to carefully choose and select what particular herb to be used in a particular case, right? The entire treatment is divided into 3 phases. The phase 1 is resurrection, wherein we resurrect the native microbiota of the water bodies. Why it is very important? Because water body is the conjunction point of soil, water, and air. And by that virtue, you get the biggest possible pool of the native microbiota because you have soil microbes, you have water microbes, and everybody is collectively there into the water body. So if we resurrect them back to life, that will solve a lot of our purposes. Why they have gone into dormancy is because of the nutrient overload, because the environment into the water body is not conducive enough for them to survive. So that is why we need to resurrect them back to life so that they start performing their metabolic activities. So phase 1 is resurrection. The phase 2 is restoration, wherein our focus is to decompose the bottom deposits of the sludge so that the soil capillaries are reopened and the surface water body gets connected to the underground aquifer naturally, so that whenever there is a spill over during monsoon, the water goes into the recharging of the aquifer. And whenever the evaporation rate is high during the peak of summer, the water is pulled out from the aquifer and the water table is maintained into the water body. So this is phase 2. Phase 3 is rejuvenation, wherein we calibrate the digestion capacity of the incoming load with the digestion capacity of the water body. So if the water body is, let's say, 100 acres and the inlet is 1 mld, our services are not required because the water body will be able to maintain itself in a healthy condition. We are not cleaning the water bodies. We are restoring the health of the water bodies. That is what is our agenda. As I said, the ecosystem services are to be restored, which includes mitigation and conservation of various activities, which I had shown into the slide. So the third phase is for rejuvenation. And after rejuvenation is done, the water body can be left on its own to maintain itself on a regular basis for as long as the inlet remains within the limit of what we have calibrated it for. So if the water bodies, like I gave you the first example of Lehetara Lake in Kashi, it was 12.75 acre and the inlet was 10 million liters of raw sewage. The water body project went on for 12 months and for last 24 months, it's absolutely healthy. And you can see a lot of biodiversity there. The water quality is still maintained. And people are still bathing in that water body. It is not getting flooded. It is not getting dried. So that was about the medicine. What we use as the ingredients of the medicine is totally dependent on this study that we conduct after the data we get from the site. So medicine is explained and how we do it is basically 3 phases: resurrection, restoration, and rejuvenation. As far as the cost is concerned, the cost will depend again on the study. Till the time the study is not conducted, we cannot give any price for that. Like the example that I gave you for the city of Moradabad, it was 6 water bodies spread over almost about 12 to 15 acres. So we did the project for 18 months and then that project was almost close to 5 crores. So that can give you a ballpark figure of how much would it cost. But again, it is not dependent on the water volume or the inlet volume. It is dependent on multiple factors, including the biodiversity, including the inlet type, inlet kind, and the agroclimatic zone where it falls. Of course, the size of the water body also does matter. So these are all the factors which decide on the cost. Now coming on to Arunji's question, what particular species are we inculcating? Actually, the answer is none. We are just resurrecting the native microbiota which belongs to that particular ecosystem. So we are not introducing any lab-grown organism to the water body. We are not adding any chemicals. We are not using any catalysts or enzymes. We are just trying to resurrect the native microbiota which belongs to that ecosystem. we are not disturbing the limnology, but we are trying to make it more healthier. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I mean, it would be if you can explain at a slightly deeper scientific level as to how your chemical interacts with the local ecology.
Right, sir.
Enables that. That would be helpful.
No, let me just explain. But I would request you that this is not a chemical. This is 100% botanical extract.
Sure. But
how
yeah, I mean, everything at the end of the day is some sort of a compound. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it is made up of some atom of something, and some other atom of something.
Yeah, there is a dead chemical, there is a biochemical. So you can call it biochemical if chemical is so deep to you. But I would rather call it a botanical extract. That is my terminology. Now coming on to how it works is basically the medicine is shipped to the location where it is amalgamated with fresh water from the same agroclimatic zone, poured into the water body early morning at the time of sunrise. There is no other method of using this solution. There are certain prerequisites that the water body has to be 100% natural, which means it is neither laminated from the bottom nor covered from the top. So it has to be the same configuration everywhere, soil and then water and then air. Now, how we do it is basically this medicine that is amalgamated with fresh water and poured into the water body. I'll explain you each and every step. Why is it required in a particular fashion? So the fresh water has to be added. Why it is required to be added is because we believe that water body is a living ecosystem. It has got its own intelligence. Any living ecosystem will have two basic properties. Property number one is the self-healing capacity. Property number two is intelligence. So if we directly dose the medicine, nothing will happen. Why we amalgamate it with fresh water from the same agroclimatic zone is purely because the water body can sense the inlet. If the inlet is of a water which is not from the same agroclimatic zone, it will be rejected as an intrusion by the water body. So that is why it is amalgamated into the fresh water and then it is poured in. Why at the time of sunrise? There is a specific reason behind that. See, all through these years, whenever rain happens, there is a process that rain follows. First, we will have dark clouds, which will cut the direct sunlight. Then we'll be having a lot of winds, which will moderate the temperature, dim the light exposure, and then the rain starts. Why this process is maintained every time? Because that entire plant world has got one mechanism to absorb the input which is falling onto the leaves. That is, you have stomata and you have guard cells. So if the guard cells are in attention, the stomata is closed. When the guard cells are relaxed, the stomata is open and the absorption will happen. Now, why this mechanism is followed every time is only because guard cells relax only when the light is dim and the temperature is moderate. This condition is met twice in the day, one at the time of sunrise, second at the time of sunset. Now sunset, because all through the day when sun was there, so the temperature goes up. So even the moderate temperature is not that moderate. That relaxing of the guard cells will happen somewhere towards the night. That is why we select the time carefully. That is the sunrise time when the dosing has to happen. Now, when the dosing happens, this medicine is added to the water body at the time of sunrise. And when the sun comes on the top, when all the photons will be available at 90 degrees, that time the homogeneous mix of the medicine would have already happened across the water body in case of the lakes. So lakes and ponds both. So this medicine is actually going to work only when the sunlight is there, only when the photons are there, right? So we give this about 5-6 hours of time so that water is able to create a homogeneous mix. Why a homogeneous mix gets created is because of the sheer structure of the water molecule. Water molecule is bipolar. Top is negatively charged, the bottom is positively charged. So there is a magnetic force that gets generated into the water bodies, which is connecting the entire surface together. Now, whenever you dose something into the water body early morning at the time of sunrise, by the time it is 12 o'clock, noon time, the sun is up right above the water body, the homogeneous mix would have already happened because of this magnetic field. And in presence of photons, the resurrection process starts. Now, how does the resurrection process start? So if you look at the contamination into the water body, it is largely phosphates, sulfates, nitrates, nitrites. Now, these are complex molecules which are bound together. There is a message, I guess, Mary, from Watson AI taker that there is silence.
Oh, no, we can hear you. Is Chandra, can you not hear? It's
Okay,
No,
I'm
I
audible,
didn't,
right?
I didn't put a message. Sorry, I didn't put.
it says your note taker said that. So I don't know why. But there is also a question in the chat. So but you go ahead and finish. I think this very interesting scientific detail is helpful.
So what happens is, because into the water body, these phosphates, sulfates, nitrates, and nitrites, all of them are waiting for the decomposition to happen. Why it is not happening is because the biological oxygen demand is high, the chemical oxygen demand is high, but the DO supply line is disrupted. So there is no DO. So in absence of oxygen, it is not happening, right? Now, there are only two ways to make it happen. Either you add oxygen or you give some free electrons so that electron exchange can happen and the decomposition of these molecules can happen. So like if you look at the formula of phosphate, it will be PO3 or PO4, sulfate will be SO4, right? So when the electron exchange happens, it can be broken down into two units, which will be S and O, right? O can immediately go into the dissolved oxygen. So with our medicine in presence of photons, what happens is a free electron gets added into the water body, which does a lot of magic in its own. So on the physicochemical layer, where are these phosphates and sulfates? They are either as suspended solids or as dissolved solids. So that means they are adding to the viscosity of water. So the moment these are broken down, the viscosity of water will increase, and you will find the viscosity of water will decrease, and you will find waves coming back onto the top surface of the water body, right? So this is the physical layer impact. Now coming on to the chemical layer impact, when the free electron is added and these compound molecules which are waiting for the decomposition to happen, they get an electron, the decomposition will happen. And on one hand, the suspended or dissolved solid count is going down. On the other hand, the oxygen level is going up because oxygen is being released from within the water body, right? Now, every electron has got a charge of 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, which is too small a charge for complex organism like human beings. But for a single-celled organism which has gone into dormancy, it gives them a CPR-like shock. So they come back to life. When they come back to life, they need oxygen to breathe. So your DO level is already up and they've got enough oxygen to breathe. Now their one requirement is fulfilled. They have another requirement to eat something, right? Now, what they will eat is something which should be at an atomic level purity. So a single atom is what they can consume. Now, when a phosphate or a sulfate or a nitrate is broken down, you get a single atom of sulfur or phosphorus or nitrogen, which they can consume. So you have made preparation for them to eat and them to breathe. Now, these single-celled organisms propagate on cell division multiplexing. So one cell will consume something and it will get divided into two to four, 4 to 8. So that is how they'll start propagating in number. And when they start propagating in number, they will also start performing their metabolic activities. So the trigger you have given with the medicine that we are adding, and rest is the natural phenomena that will start happening on its own, because anyways that was supposed to happen. It's only because the water body was not in good health. Those activities which are the metabolic activities of the water body were there on hold, that they were on the standstill. So water body contamination and decontamination is a natural process. Without human beings on the face of the planet, water bodies were getting contaminated naturally, because when you have a volcanic eruption, all heavy metals will come out as fumes. Lava will come in the end, right? Where will this fume go? They'll settle down onto the surface of the water bodies. They'll get wet and they'll sink in. So heavy metals are added to the water bodies. Whenever there is a typhoon, whenever there is a hailstorm, wind, anything of that sort, all the trees on the embankment of the water body will shed their leaves and their fruits and their seeds and their flowers into the water body. Everything has got a different level of phosphate. So phosphate gets added. Too much of phosphate will lead to eutrophication, right? So anything that we are adding to the water body, whether it is raw sewage, whether it is industrial effluent, whether it is runoff water or storm water, all those complex molecules which we think are man-made were getting added to the water body anyways. That is why you see this diversity into the weeds. Like up in north, you'll find a lot of water hyacinth. Western side, you'll find a lot of water lettuce, right? Central India, you'll find a lot of hydrilla. Down south, you will find maybe a lot of azolla, right? So the weed diversity is, nobody's planting weeds, right? Nature is creating a specific kind of weed in a specific agroclimatic zone, depending upon what exactly is the inlet in a particular water body, right? So what we work on is we understand and bow down to the natural intelligence, because nature doesn't do anything without any purpose. These weeds are coming into the water bodies only to clean the water. But because of our regular consistent addition, like I said before, human beings also, water bodies were getting contaminated. Nature was creating weeds. Weeds were consuming all that nutrient overload. And then once their entire overload was consumed, they were starving to their own death because there were no more feed for weed left into the water body. So they would die their own death, they sink in, and again, they'll be decomposed like any other biological waste. But when we have come into the picture, we have started adding waste into the water. That's not a problem. Water bodies knows how to deal with it. But our consistent addition has become a problem. So weeds will come, but they will never go, because by the time they have finished their weed for one day, a fresh supply of the feed will come, right? So that is why we see wherever we have water hyacinth or we have water lettuce or we have azolla, they propagate like anything and they cover the entire surface. When they cover the entire surface, the sunlight penetration will stop. When the sunlight penetration will stop, the photosynthesis within the water body will stop. That means we have choked the supply line of DO, and addition is daily increasing the BOD and the COD, the TDS and the TSS, right? So the decay process is based on it's a chain reaction. So when the chain reaction happens, what will happen is one step will lead to another step. Now, when the DO level is minimal, no aerobic microbiota can survive. So they'll go into dormancy. The anaerobic digestion will start to happen. Whenever there is anaerobic digestion, the natural byproduct of it is hydrogen sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide is that rotten egg smell that spreads across the water body in the vicinity, because of which we have that foul smell, right? So this is stage 1 of cancer. Stage 2 is consistent addition will increase the water viscosity and water will stand still. Now this becomes the best breeding ground for the mosquitoes. So when the mosquitoes are there, you have all the vector-borne diseases in the vicinity, right? Again, the water body is having anaerobic life. We are all aerobic beings, right? We all are oxygen breathers. So when we come in contact with this water, which has got anaerobic life, their metabolism is opposite of ours. So when we contact this particular water, we get sick, right? So that is how water and vector-borne diseases are spread across. Now coming on to another important factor, which is the air pollution. As I said, water bodies have got lots and lots of water molecules, and water molecules are bipolar, negatively charged on the top and positively charged on the bottom. So when the water bodies are in healthy condition, the entire top surface is negatively charged. And what we call as air pollution is largely freely floating particulate matter, which are the solid particles, which are largely positively charged. So positively charged, freely floating particulate matter will naturally get attracted to the top surface of the water body, which is negatively charged. So air pollution mitigation done, right? For the process of photosynthesis, the microbes need photons and carbon. Photons come from the sunlight, carbon comes from the greenhouse gases, which is there in the atmosphere, right? So every water body in a healthy condition is a carbon sink also. So all that GHG, which was being emitted from the water body earlier. Now, this is also a very interesting part. Water bodies are the only structure in this world which can go both ways. They can be emitters also, they can be a sink also. They can be sequesters also. Otherwise, we have plants as sequesters. Come what may, their entire life, they will be sequestering carbon only. All the animals are emitters. So nature has created a very fine balance. And in fact, this was what I was talking in COP also, COP 28 as well as COP 29, when I was talking to them about focusing on sequestration instead of just working on cutting off emission. Because 1700s, when the first steam engine was created, that had a lot more emission than what we have in today's cars or boats or even ships for that matter, right? That time there was no problem because the footprint was localized. And in last 400 years, we have done a lot of emission across the globe, which is all there in the air, right? So if we start working on cutting the emission, the legacy emission from the air, we will get a breathing space, right? Right now, we have a lot of problems in terms of the temperature going up, the global warming, the climate change, the species getting extinct. All this can be restored provided we create a larger footprint of healthier water bodies. Because water bodies are heat sink, they are carbon sink, and they are water sink. Yeah, Mary, you were saying?
It's beautiful, but it is a cyclical story where if you don't acknowledge the soil and the air and do the testing that you do ahead of time to understand what is the makeup of everything, you're not in a position to heal it. And there are a few questions in the chat I'd like to get to. I just want to acknowledge the process that you've just walked through. While people have questions about it, how does it work? Is it scientific? It reminds me of the process I just went through with a homeopathic physician who took a whole panel on my body, and I was dealing with high blood pressure. And I said, I want to avoid pharmaceutical remedies. I want to use homeopathic if I can. And she identified the missing magnesium and turlin and a few different elements, and it allowed me to get off any pharmaceutical drugs and just have my body back in balance with the right remedies, whether it be vitamins or herbs or these additives that are available in nature. And so there are some other experts on the call here, and Ram Kumar just raised his hand, and then I want to go over to Arun Kumar and Bhaskar, who are working with NuAlgi, whom you know, and they have some ideas also on the oxygen. So Ram Kumar, your question or comment.
Well, very good evening, Mr. Madhukar. Very beautifully explained. You see, you are nicely touched upon. Hope my voice is quite clear, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you have nicely touched upon the holistic approach. Beautifully touched upon the holistic approach, where the earth naturally balances itself. So beautifully done. You see, my work is basically on very simple groundwater recharge, putting the water into the soil, because soil without water dies.
Right.
That is the simple thing I'm working. Maintaining the biomass system, maintaining the strength of the soil. Basically, once we feed the soil with the rainwater, which is the purest form of water, the ecosystem is maintained, the vegetation is maintained. Naturally, the runoff both through the soil and on the top goes into the water body, and water body gets maintained. A lot of neutralization takes place. I also gained a lot from your way you explained the various technicalities. And definitely, I think we will get in touch sometime where I can explain more in detail to you on the holistic approach of simple rainwater harvesting, even in concreted roads, concreted cities. We can do praxit by sending the the water to the Mother Earth. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you, Ram Kumar. And he's a brilliant regular publisher like yourself, Madhukar, so educating the public. So we really appreciate that. Now, Arun Kumar and Bhaskar, I don't know, Arun, you were traveling. If one of you could comment on your understanding of the process, if you have questions on what Madhukar is explaining. So Bhaskar, it looks like you've opened up your microphone.
Bhaskar here.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Madhukar, you are aware of NuAlgi, no?
Yeah.
I think Sunil had first perhaps told you about this long back.
Yeah.
So we are growing diatom algae to oxygenate the water, and thereby trigger the whole natural process that as you mentioned, because diatoms do that job. Now you're not given details of what is the biota of the lakes before and after your treatment. the bacteria and phytoplankton, and how that is being sustained over a long period. They are like treating for a few months or maybe 1 year, and then you say that further treatment is not required. So how is that being maintained? Because sewage may be coming in over even in the future. So how does that get taken care of? I mean, do you have to divert the sewage which is very high or something like that? Do you have an approximate equation for the hydraulic retention time? How much sewage can be naturally absorbed once you treat?
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Your question is about how do we maintain the water body and what happens to the nutrient overload which is coming in, right? The way we work is, if you look at the inlet which is coming in, you want to give a presentation, sir?
No, this actually Arun Kumar had started that. No, please continue. You'll do the data. Yeah.
Okay, so when we say that inlet is coming in, why we treat in situ is basically because whatever is coming in, scientifically speaking, we call it nutrient overload, right? So the nutrition is, if we look at the farm sector, what are we adding? NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, right? Why are we adding this into the farm? It's only because these are the nutrients. And what are the constituent elements of our sewage?
Right.
That is phosphate, sulfates, nitrates, right?
Yeah.
So more or less, we are getting the nutrition into the water body in the form of the wastewater, right? Now, if we just break them down, naturally, nature will rearrange them to be used into the ecosystem.
Right.
See, nature does not have any concept of waste or wealth, right?
Right.
These are both man-made concepts. We attach an imaginary value to something and we call it a wealth. We detach that value and we call it a waste, right? Like if I give you iPhone 3 today, you can't even use it because the networks have grown, right? Today it is a waste, but it was the same iPhone for which there was a 2 kilometer line when it was getting released, right? So the waste and wealth are all man-made concepts. Now, when the nature is given that space, nature will reclaim itself. We have recently seen this during the global lockdown of the pandemic, right? All newspaper, all news channel, everybody reported that rivers have started becoming cleaner. Why? Because there was human intervention which was reduced. So nature is capable of what I said. Water bodies are living ecosystems. They have two basic properties. One is intelligence, second is self-healing, right? So we are just standing on the side of nature with our solution. That is why it is 100% nature-based solution, right? So all this nutrient which is coming in is actually getting rearranged for production of planktons. When the plankton production goes up, the fish population will go up. When the fish population will go up, you will see flocks of birds outside of the water body.
Yeah, but
when the birds are back, the greenery is back. When the greenery is back, bees and butterflies are back. So if there are farmlands around, there'll be a better pollination, you'll get a better crop production, right? So life exuberates around the water body just because we are not focusing on cleaning of the water body. We are focusing on making them healthier, right? So if they're healthier, this will be the natural mechanism of rearrangement of the elements for production of planktons. So that is the root cause of water bodies becoming self-sustainable after the project is over.
Yeah, but here the basic question is, when blue-green algal blooms are taking place, fish are dying off, then, so it's not just a question of plankton, isn't it? You have to identify the correct plankton.
Right.
So that have you...
When you say blue-green algae, or when you say a particular kind of weed, whether it is a zola or hydrilla or hyacinth or anything, right? They come for a reason, and the reason is their feed. If you don't have feed for them, they cannot occur on their own.
Right.
Who is planting those weeds in those particular water bodies? It is nature, right?
No, that's fine. No, I'm saying talk about restoration of the fish.
Yeah.
So if when algal, blue-green algae is blooming, fish are not consuming that, and then there should be a fish bloom.
No.
Blue-green algae
When blue-green algae is blooming, they'll cover the top surface.
So why are not blue green algae not being consumed by the fish? Is the first step. No? So do you do an analysis of the algae before and after? What types of algae is present? What type before your treatment, after your treatment? Have you
When
done
we
in
treat
any
the
of your
water body, there are no algae left. The water body is absolutely free from blue-green algae. The top surface is all wavy.
right? No. So then, what is the food for the fish subsequently, or what is the source of the oxygen? Photosynthesis is the source of oxygen. So in
Yes.
future, when you have to sustain,
Sir,
so
you are asking this question, you're using diatoms
yeah,
in algae. So
Yeah.
diatoms are creating a lot of oxygen within the water and they are photosynthetic,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So you already know the answer.
So have you documented that? I'm saying.
No, I have not documented. I'm not working on diatoms.
Hmm.
See, I'm working on resurrection of the native ecology.
Yeah.
The ecology does have diatoms also. So I'm not specific to diatoms. I'm just wanting to resurrect the entire native microbiota, which include the soil microbes also, which include the water microbes also.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
You know,
there was a question here. Maybe someone, the two of you could explain the difference between NuAlgi and Cownomics, as you know, NuAlgi increases the dissolved oxygen and that can serve the purpose and initiate the process as well. So maybe I think you understand, Madhukar, NuAlgi. Can you explain the difference?
Yeah, the difference between NuAlgi and Cownomics is NuAlgi is a nanotechnology based solution, whereas Cownomics is a herbal solution. So these are two entirely different worlds, right? Like you were just talking about the blood pressure problem of yours. You didn't want to go the allopathy way. You went the homeopathy way. We have got another traditional medicine system here in Bharat, which is called Ayurvedic, right? So all three work, but these are three different schools of thoughts. Similarly, NuAlgi is a wonderful solution that is working on diatoms, and that is a nanotechnology-based solution. Cownomics is a 100% herbal solution, and it works on plant extracts. That is the key difference between the two.
Right. And I know we've heard the NuAlgi presentation in the WOW programs, but Arun did have a slide. If you could quickly go through it in 3 minutes, if just so that people have that perspective here.
Mary, this is Arun here. I sent you the slide by email. I'm not in a position to show it to myself, but if you have a moment, you can perhaps bring it up.
Okay. And while I do that.
Yeah, let me just talk a little bit. So Madhukar, it's very good to hear your presentation. I think, just as you are also looking to restore the ecology of the water body, we are, the goal of the NuAlgi-based treatment is also to do the same thing. We also believe in restoration of the microbes that are in the water, microbes that are native to the soil. In fact, all microbes that are native to the water body will grow with NuAlgi-based treatment. Because fundamentally, there is, what we are targeting is by accelerating the growth of diatoms with our nutrient product, we are enabling the production of oxygen nanobubbles through photosynthesis of the diatoms. The oxygen results in the growth of aerobic bacteria, right? And that aerobic bacteria can be there in the water column, it can be there in the soil. So wherever you have oxygen, you will have growth of the local native aerobic bacteria. So I think we are both achieving the same thing, at least from my perspective. But we have a specific mechanism that we are targeting diatoms, and that triggers the restoration of the entire ecosystem. And I think as far as the details of what all happens in a water body in its minutiae, that is something that is a little bit of a mystery. I think I don't know if anybody really understands step by step all the chemical reactions that really happen inside the water body. But at least we have some idea, and we have the goal is the same. Right? So how can we restore the ecosystem?
Definitely.
Yeah. So Mary, just you can perhaps go back to the previous slide.
This one. Is this the one you wanted? The phycoremediation approach summary? Arun, is this the one you wanted? And I've lost your audio. If you're here. So,
Yeah, how about
Bhaskar.
now? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So so the phycoremediation approach which we are following for the restoration of the ecology of water bodies relies on a nanonutrient solution consisting of silica, macro, micro, and trace minerals. We also don't have any bacteria, enzymes, or hormones in our product, and this accelerates the growth of particular microalgal species called diatoms, which is also native to the water body. So,
Arunji, one suggestion for you.
Yeah.
Because of the NuAlgi approach, you should be approaching those people who are a big time producer of the fly ash, because your diatom solution should work in consumption of the silica, because the fly ash has got almost about 60% of silica. So if you work in
yes.
those ash ponds, you will do wonders and you will solve a big problem also.
No, the thing about that application that you're talking about is that there are two kinds of silica. There is crystalline silica and amorphous silica. Diatoms require amorphous silica for their growth. It is not clear to me what fraction of the silica present in fly ash ponds is amorphous silica. So, we have some trials underway where we are trying our product in a fly ash pond, and we will know in the future. But only the amorphous silica component of the fly ash will be absorbed by diatoms. Yeah. So that's another point to keep in mind. So the good thing about diatoms is that since just like any other plant species, they also absorb all the other nutrients, excess nutrients that are there in the water body, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, the potassium, sulfur, amorphous silica, sodium. So diatoms, as part of their photosynthetic growth, they absorb all of these elements from the water body, and therefore make them less available for the growth of surface plants, green and toxic blue-green algae. So that's one way in which we are addressing the blue-green algae problem in many water bodies. Of course, through the process of photosynthesis, the dissolved oxygen increases rapidly, and this enables the aerobic bacteria, both in the soil and the sediment in the water, to all multiply, right? And when they multiply, they naturally break down the suspended organic matter and the sludge that is there at the bottom of the lake. So this is a natural process of cleaning that is already happening in all water bodies, and we are simply accelerating the process by the.
While you're talking, Arunji, another thing that comes into my mind is a key differentiator is you can work in STPs, we cannot. Because
yes.
items are there also into the STP water, and your solution will work perfectly well with the STPs and the ETPs as well.
Yes. Our solution, we have demonstrated our solution in STPs and showed rapid increases in diatom in dissolved oxygen and reduction in the various elements. So we have shown that within 8 hours or 10 hours that it takes for the water to flow through an STP, we are able to affect significant changes to the parameters.
And you can also help them by taking care of another big problem which they have, which is the sludge, because diatoms can also decompose the sludge in the bottom.
Yes.
That's why
we don't produce any new sludge. So we are almost establishing a natural ecosystem inside the STP. We're sort of moving in that direction.
Well, and this is why we need a few different solutions at all of these calls, because there are different parameters that need to be addressed, like the internal or built infrastructure, and also the sludge that continues to flow in. There are a few questions on the sludge. Robert Weiler, if you want to unmute, or I'll just say, his question was, are you using mesophyll organisma to overtake the anaerobic sludge? And Chakri also asked, do we stop the sludge or the sewage, or is it that you are treating it? Maybe for both of you. Madhukar, you want to start?
No, in my solution, we don't stop any inlets. It is 100% in situ. Yes, we install some gradient filter so that solids don't come into the water body. So whatever is coming in is most welcome. That is coming in with a lot of nutrient overload, and our organisms need a lot of feed. So this inlet, which is coming in with a nutrient overload, is what is getting transformed into the planktons, and the planktons are the feed for the aquatic organisms. But in case of the sludge deposit, as I said, the second process in our treatment is restoration, wherein we focus on decomposition of the sludge which is deposited in the bottom, which has choked the soil capillaries, which are the link between the surface water body and the underground aquifer. So in our case, this is how it is dealt with. Arunji will explain about the NuAlgi system of how they deal with the sludge. I'm sure completely it will be getting consumed in the process. Arunji, over to you.
Sure. So in the case of NuAlgi, the organic portion of the sludge that is there is also broken down with the help of the aerobic bacteria, and the aerobic bacteria themselves may be consumed by the growth of zooplankton, which is another small species that starts emerging as soon as you have diatom growth. So I mean, this will happen inside an STP as well, because zooplankton is also, there are zooplankton cysts that are naturally present even in the sewage water. And they will start multiplying as soon as you have the growth of diatoms. And this is the reason, we have seen significant reductions in fecal coliform populations. The fecal coliform parameter in an STP.
Right. And there was a question on, oh, sorry. Arunji, did you finish? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll let Madhukar.
Yeah, great. There was a question on STP and ETP, and Madhukar mentioned that he can't be used in these built infrastructures. He needs to have the earthen bottom and aerobic top. So, but Arun, you can, correct? The STP.
Yes. Our product works really well in STPs. So far, it doesn't work as well in ETPs, where there might be industrial chemicals that retard the growth of diatom. So we haven't had success in ETPs, but in environments where there is largely sewage and some industrial effluent, it still works.
Okay. And then I think you asked the question about the oxygen put off with Madhukar's model, and what was the exact question? And there is a question here on the plant extraction from Shobit Maitani. What is the process of plant extraction for the herbals, I guess? Can you answer that, Madhukar?
Okay, so the plant extraction is done with various methods. I mean, if I start explaining the process of making of the medicine, that will probably take another 3 hours. But there are about 8-9 different processes, depending upon whether we're doing an extraction from the bark or the leaf or the seed or the flower, which part of the plant are we extracting from will decide which particular method do we adopt. So there are multiple plants, there are multiple plant parts, and there are multiple processes to extract the juice of it, which we call as the plant extract. So the medicine that we make is concentrated. And the difference between a medicine and poison is just the concentration, right? If you consume too much of sleeping pills instead of a medicine, it will actually become a poison, right? So the concentration is very, very important. And that is why when we prepare a concentrate, it is shipped to the location where it is amalgamated with fresh water so that the potency reduces and the poison becomes a medicine, and then it is dosed into the water body, as I said, early morning at the time of sunrise.
Such a fragile world in which we live, and we have upset these ecologies, but the beauty of
Madhukar, I just had a question for you. How much of your concentrate you need for, let's say, 1 milliliters of water on a daily basis?
It varies from project to project, from case to case. Till the time we have not conducted a study, we cannot come onto that prescription of what should be the dilution ratio. So it varies from one project to another. Like there are certain projects wherein just 1,000 liters of water is good enough. There are certain projects wherein 10,000 liters are being used. So it varies from one place to another.
Okay,
Yeah, and I
so
guess
you're taking 1,000 to 10,000 liters of your product for 1 million liters.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, because you're taking that range, it is a fair statement.
Yeah. Okay. I mentioned we're nearing our close. If anyone has any questions, please unmute or raise your hand or put it in the chat. But an important comment I think that we run into, at least in the States, is NuAlgi and Khatri. Yes. I just before going on the approval process, because these are herbals, there isn't a requirement to go through a permitting or any other process. Can you just talk to that, Madhukar?
The process that we involved in the project.
Yeah, for permitting or for any water authority to have approval or oversight or know what you're doing.
Okay. So the way we conduct the project is, first there is a research team which goes into the project. They collect all the data in terms of the groundwater, soil, sludge, water body, inlet water, inlet volume, the GHG emission from the water body, the air quality, the biodiversity. All that is captured and a baseline report is created. This is usually from an IIT or from any other research bodies, like we are working with SIAD, we are working with ADRI. These are different research organizations who will send their team before we begin the project, before we begin the intervention. This baseline report becomes our reference point for all the future updation that happens into the project. Then the physical intervention will start, the tanks will be installed and the dosing will start. Now, when the treatment is happening, the execution team will have probes for daily measurement of the soil quality, the air quality, and the water quality, which are the spot testing probes, digital meters. Every 15 days for the first quarter, they'll be lifting water samples and sending it to the lab, wherein the water quality will be tested. And then there is a video documentary team which will go along with the research team, which will capture the entire video of the process, and as well as the feedback of the locals before the intervention happens. And this video documentary team will keep coming back again and again every quarter, so that they capture the transformation of the water body, as well as the opinions of the local people who are living in the vicinity of the water body, or they're interacting with the water body on a regular basis. Like there is a washerman, or there is a fisherman, or anybody who is interacting with that water body on a regular basis. This is the third kind of data that we capture. The fourth data that we capture is after every 6 months, the EIA team, the environmental impact assessment team from the research organization will continue to come back. So first was the baseline survey, then there'll be a survey after 6 months, then there'll be a survey after 12 months. Then we also have something which we call a socioeconomic impact survey, which is from a socioeconomic impact study institute, like TISS is Tata Institute of Social Sciences. There is GIDS, Giri Institute of Development Studies. Their team will go, they'll capture the socioeconomic impact data, they'll capture the health data, and they'll compile a report and they'll submit that report as well. Then in about 9th month, we will do a biodiversity conservation survey, which is done as GIS data and remote sensing data about what have been the biodiversity gains vis-a-vis last 5 years, right? So that report is also compiled, and the final report is when we collect the data from the specialized agencies, like the biodiversity gain data will come from Biodiversity Board, the air pollution control data will come from Pollution Control Board, groundwater recharge data will come from Groundwater Board. So these are specialized agencies like water and vector-borne diseases. That data is maintained by PHED, Public Health Engineering Department. So these specialized agencies have got their regular data. That is what they're maintaining. So if our research team's data matches with their data, that means there is no flaw in between. There is no, the entire project has gone foolproof. So all these projects are compiled together and handed over to the customer. Now, what we are trying to build as a system, as a next step with all these customers, because customers are essentially either state government or central government or a urban local body or a PSU or an education campus. What we're trying to build with them is, don't think of water body rejuvenation as your expenditure. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to get them into an MOU with a third party, which is expert into water credits, into carbon credits, sanitation credits, your biodiversity credits. So if you maintain the health of the water body, it in itself can generate a lot of revenue for you without you doing anything at all, right? So what we are trying to build is this consensus among the people that you enter into this third party MOU who will get your project registered, audited, published, and then finally credit gets generated, which is a tradable commodity into the carbon exchange or the water exchange across the globe, right? So when these ULBs or the state bodies or the central bodies start getting revenue out of the water body rejuvenation projects, that will change their entire perception, their approach towards the water body projects. Because today everybody is taking it as an expenditure. Right now, expenditure is something that everybody is concerned about. So this is the way forward. This is where we wish to move forward.
Yes, it's a beautiful model, and we have a number of questions here. So Niranjan Khatri, you and Mike, you go first, and then Chakri, and it looks like Peter Swa may have a question. Go ahead, Niranjan.
I'm a lay, but as a layperson, your talk was music to my ears. And you use the word nature-based, and you're talking about collateral benefits of what you just said, really music to my ears. So my question to you is that, how many people have you trained in the work that you're doing? Because we need scale up in such practices. And we seem to have oases in the desert. We have to move away from that.
Thank you, sir. See, our business strategy is such that we only sign up partners. We don't do any project directly. So what we have created as a model is we only sign up with the partners, we train them, we educate them, we do the technical handholding. They get the business. They only execute the business. They take out their expenses and transfer our share to us. So we as an organization want to remain focused on the technology side. We don't want to get commercial at all. But sustainability is very, very important. So if we don't get the money, we can't run our houses. So that will be a different problem altogether. Now, if you are in a sustainability business, your business model also has to be sustainable. So that is why we've created this model wherein we sign up with partners. Partners go and work there in own area, whether it is geographical area or whether there's network or whether they belong to a particular sector. Like as of now, we have got about 50 odd partners across Bharat. And these are from real estate, from NGOs, or from IT sector. You name the sector, we have a partner from that particular sector. So this is our model that we train people, and then the business doing is totally up to them. We don't do the business. We don't get into commercial transactions with the customers.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm putting the website listing here so people can go to Vaidic Srijan if they want to explore being a partner. And yeah, Chakri, please go ahead. Thank you for setting this up.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
sir. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have quite a critique. Maybe this is a question for offline, Madhukar. So have you had failures? And if you've not had failures, where is the falsifiability of this kind of a process, which is essentially, is this scientific or not? So if it's not a easy answer, I'm happy to sit down and talk to you.
No, it's absolutely fine, sir. See, what we believe is that questions are not wrong. The answers could be wrong or the intentions could be wrong, but questions are never wrong. And if you actually look at it, we belong to a country wherein questioning was the way of learning. You would have remembered that terminology called Shastrarth, right? So Shastrarth was the question answer session, the frequently asked question between people, right? So that's the way of learning. So thank you for a wonderful question. See, as I explained, we are not executing the projects, right? Projects are being executed by our partners, and partners are well trained in taking instructions and implementing them, but there is always a possibility of a human error. So what happens when that happens, right? I guess that was your question. So basically, whenever it is a government tender, the customer is very, very smart. They take a counter guarantee from us that in case the said partner who is being awarded the project fails to perform and deliver the results, we have to take the onus of that entire project and we have to make it function. So what we usually do is, in case if one partner is failing to perform in a particular project, we replace that partner with another partner, but the project must be 100% successful. The deliverables have to be met come what may, because when you're dealing with government organization, you are actually dealing with the public money. So it is all tax money which is being pumped into a particular project, and that is why the beneficiaries are huge. Like if you remember one of my slides, I said we have safeguarded 2 million people from water and vector-borne diseases. So how does that happen? That only happens when you work in an infrastructure that is touching so many people, right? So project has to be delivered. Yes, failures have been there, but then to correct those mistakes is also our onus.
Thank you very much, Madhukar. I hope that answered your question, Chakri. You can. Looks like it did. So, Kudaswar, I apologize for my pronunciation. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. And it is the first time I am listening, Mr. Madhukar, and I think I had an interaction through mail with Madhukar for this kind of program. Actually, I work with a non-profit in Odisha, and basically I work with the tribal and rural communities, not in urban areas. So we work a lot of work with climate action, conservation, and regeneration. Those activities we do. And this pollutant water bodies, we started working with the bioenzymes. I got training in bioenzymes and how to do it. So it is at the household level we can do it, but we could not take up that project. We didn't have that capacity to form a project proposal and because we deal with the small water bodies, ponds in the villages. So my interest is there. So I was just asking for the advice from Madhukar that how I can go about framing a design of addressing the issue in the rural and tribal areas, how to do it. So that was my aspiration in getting Madhukar.
Sir, I guess in Orissa, you already have a wonderful project ongoing, which is called Mopokri. So there is a lot of funds in Mopokri project. If you can just align with the government authorities, all these smaller water bodies, the ponds that you have, they fall under that project category, Mopokri. So if you can just get in touch with the right people over there, this project can get a lot of funds.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Beautiful. So I think, thank you. And also I think Madhukar did say under 10,000 acres, is that the size? It isn't, no, 10,000 meters. This is not effective.
That is the smallest.
Yes. So sometimes in rural areas, that is the case. They're smaller implementations, but it really helps to have the funding information and also the training information. And one other question, and I want to acknowledge Wycliffe, who is here from Africa, who's training on hoping to do maybe Wycliffe, you could ask your question just on your desire for training hydrologists across Africa.
Thank you, madam. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Okay, my name's Wycliffe from Africa in a country called Kenya. Are you hearing me?
We can.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, I've got a concern. Here in my country, we have several water bodies, which includes lakes, rivers. Some of them are freshwater lakes, others are water lakes. Now, I was kindly requesting if maybe this knowledge can be impacted to African hydrologists so that we can have these great ideas on the issues to do with the curing of lakes which have been infested with maybe algae. Some of them are very salty. So I think if we happen to train African hydrologists, we can be in a very good environment here in Africa. So thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Wycliffe. I'd love to see you here after the Global Water Works Network. I mean, we are connected, Mary. and he is joined in, and he is also happens to be a silver badge holder because he's got a lot of people on board. So
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
as far as I'm concerned, with YLI network in Liberia and MAI Foundation in Nigeria, I'm conducting a lot of capacity building works in terms of training of the people on water technologies. So in case if you have some of your people whom you want to be integrated into the water rejuvenation projects, maybe you can get in touch with either of them. You'll find both of them to be there on my LinkedIn. And in case if you're there on LinkedIn, you can just follow them. Amode and there was Philip. These are two gentlemen who are conducting those capacity building training workshops.
Yeah, great. Well, it sounds like we have just started to open this door to homeopathic, holistic remedies. And what's beautiful is we have many building blocks, and India has 15,000 lakes, I believe, or just massive opportunity. So I was starting there, moving to Africa, and we have tremendous opportunity here in Lake County, where I live, where we have identified what you said, Madhukar, is our lakes are our most precious assets. They filter our water, they filter our air, they serve us with drinking water, but they also serve all of the surrounding environment and restore our soils. And they can buffer us from storms. They can create resilience through droughts. Why are we not investing more in these top performing assets everywhere? So I think that's the goal of this whole group. If you can help spread the word on the solutions that exist, you heard about Vaidic Srijan and also NuAlgi, and we know that there are other solutions with SIS.BIO who's been shared, and with drylet that treats waste, many holistic remedies. And as Madhukar mentioned before our call, there's shoreline restoration, there's activity youth can get involved with identifying the macroinvertebrates, assessing the health of lakes. So we can all play a part here, and we're just delighted that you spent the last 90 minutes with us and had the opportunity to meet these gentlemen and connect in our networks. They should all be part of your expanding knowledge base, because collectively we can solve these water challenges. And we just are so appreciative for Hari setting up this call and for opening the discussion, and Madhukar bringing this basis of knowledge to all of us. So congratulations to you for your work. And any final questions, comments, Madhukar?
No, thank you, Mary, for this wonderful opportunity of presenting to all the water professionals all over, from US to India to Africa. I mean, I see a wonderful and diverse audience, and the best part is everybody is a water professional. I mean, rarely get this kind of audience and such interactive sessions, because usually sessions are always monologue. People don't ask questions, or they feel that I know it better, so I don't prefer asking questions. But here it was a very lively audience, and I really, really enjoyed all those 90 minutes. Now that you have said it is 90 minutes, I looked at the watch to understand that, oh, so much of time has already passed. I was just thinking that, okay, we are somewhere in the midway. So thanks a lot. It was all pleasure.
Yes, and Hari, I don't know if you're still accessible. You started this all, and you set the tone, and there's a wonderful Socratic dialogue. So our pleasure. I don't see you on right now, so I thank you, Hari, for setting this all up. And I mentioned in the chat we are here on globalwaterworks.org. You can connect at globalwaterworks.org, and we will keep the dialogue going and hopefully keep our education growing. So God bless you all, and have a beautiful weekend. And thank you again for all of your contributions. So
thank you. Thanks a lot. Same to you. Have a wonderful weekend ahead.
Thank you so much. Have a nice time.
Wycliffe, at the silver and gold, yes, everyone can bring more to the party, and you get recognized silver, gold, or bronze if you just bring 2 people. But yes, massive network we're growing to change the world. So
thank you.
Have a great weekend, everyone.